Good afternoon, welcome to my channel. This is Kristy from Sewbits. This is a new stitchery that's happening. It's from Arty Farty Annie on YouTube, and it's the Great Big Little Stitchery Swap 3. Now she's had two swaps before, and this is the third one. I think there's another one happening at the end of the year. I've also put my on card, so it makes it easy to know what size square to cut out on your calico. And then I did the actual size of the 4-inch square on a card. So all I've got to do is just make sure that that fits in within that, and it does. I've also drawn it on calico with a friction pen just around the outside, so I know how much how much that fits in within my square, so I'm pretty good to go. Here I draw a piece of paper. I've got a piece of paper and I've drawn on my picture as a rough guide as to where I want my my pieces of fabric and all my embellishments to go. And as you can see, there's a cottage, grass, and some flowers. This is like the pebbles and the beach. This is the ocean, and obviously that's the sky and the sun. Now this is for Sally West, and she loves to go to a cottage by the sea. So this is what I've done. So I'm just about to sew down the sun, and I'll continue on with that. Today we have sunny weather. Now we are desperate for rain. It's autumn here in Australia, and we have had no rain at all in autumn. We actually did get a tiny little bit, but it wasn't enough to even wet the ground. And we are supposed to be having quite over 100 mils of rain by this time, and we haven't even had any yet. So we're getting a little bit desperate. And I'm getting desperate. I keep saying I want to go and do a rain dance or do something, because it's just ridiculous how we haven't had any rain. And I can see all these trees along the path, on the edge of on the curbside. All these trees are starting to die, and they've been there for over 30 years or more. And down south in the rainforest from Perth, all the trees are starting to die. Not all of them, obviously, but there are quite a significant amount of trees dying in the bush. And it's really sad, because it doesn't take, just a few years for the trees to grow. It takes, 50 or 60 years for the trees to get really mature. And there's trees down there that are over 100 years old, possibly even 150 years old. And, like everything needs water. Without water, we don't exist. So it's very scary. But I'm doing my best not to try and think about that. Now I've just done a little bit of sun, and now I'm just going to go and change my needle. Now I've got this cotton here, and I'm just going to put some sun rays for the sun. Actually, I don't think it's cotton. I think it's rayon. I'm really not too sure. As a friend of mine gave me that from her mum's craft room. She's moved from her house into a care facility. So I was quite happy when she said, "Oh, would you like these?" I went, "Oh yeah, that'd be lovely." Now I'm just probably going to just do long and short ones. That one looks a little bit crooked, but that's okay. If I don't like it later, I'll just go back and fix it up. There goes my flower. Now I've also decided to swap this over because I thought the flowers up here were just too much. So I decided to break it up with that piece and then put this one here. Oh, it just won't sit down. There we go. Still not sure about that, to be honest. It's hard to know. I'll have a look through the... Yeah, I think that looks better. It just breaks the house up from the same colour as the flowers, even though I really love the flowers, but we just don't want... We don't want to show the sky under there. I'll find my pin. That's too big. I'll get a smaller one. I have these special pins actually. Just let me find them. Shh. Do you want to go outside? That's my dogs. They're in my room, in my sewing room. These are better. They're a lot thinner. I'll fix it up later. Right, let's try and do the sun. Now that's not looking like a sun at all. Might just pull that apart. There. If the sun doesn't work out, I will just fix it up off camera. At this stage, I just want to get something done. I might just go there. And sneak a baby one in here. It all works out in your head, but when you go to put it down on, well, papers, so to speak, in this case it's fabric, it doesn't always work out. But I think the best thing to do is just take it apart and start again. I'm just going to put a small one in there. And the sun isn't always, sun doesn't have straight lines in it anyway. Well, it doesn't have lines, so just got to do the best you can. And if it doesn't work, you can always unpick it before the final end. Not quite sure. I think that's a little bit too big, but I can just take that from there. I don't think it's come through very well, and I'll fix it up later. Now, I've got some little beads. I could just put a few little beads in there to make the center of the sun. Or I could just come through with the yellow cotton. My needle's fairly big. I just got to find a smaller one to fit this type of cotton. I don't think this is going to work. I know my needle's too big. I've got kids in the back next door and they're having a lot of fun, but it's creating probably a bit of noise on the camera, so sorry about that. Now this is a very slippery, there is a special name for this. I just can't think what it is at the moment. Just pull that tight because it's quite slippery. I actually quite like it like that, so I'm just going to leave it like that and tie off the ends. And I think it's nylon. It's quite slippery. Don't go back there. There we go. Pull that tight. There. I'll just put another. Try and put another knot in it because now it's all frayed. Right. Yeah, I think that's nylon. So it becomes very slippery. Let's put that in the bin. That'll do. It looks good. All right. So what have we got? Next, I might do the ocean here. So I've got some beads and I might put the beads on top of this is meant to be like the waves of the ocean. So I'll put the, I might do some running stitch along there. I'll just go and find my cotton. I thought I had it. Now I've got this here. These came from the same friend's mum. So I was very happy about getting quite a bit of cotton from her. Now she's obviously used that, so I'm just going to chop that off and save it for another time. I think this one, because it's quite sparkly. I'm sure there's other needles you can use, but I'm using this one for now. I am going to put this pin in there. Looks pretty on the back. Now I should figure out where I'm going to put the so roughly through the middle there. Maybe I'll just use my little pins. I haven't used these before. I sort of want one back here and one, so I'm going to stay within my there. I'll just take out that one and put it in here. So that will give me an idea of where I need to hold, not hold, where I need to stitch the bit of blue for the ocean. Now there are going to be all sorts of different lengths because the ocean is full of waves. All these pins coming undone. All right. Let's keep doing some more little stitches. Now I did have some beads for this blue here. Oops, hang on a minute. I did that last time. I did it the wrong way around. And they all made a big mess. Now, I don't know if this is going to be too big. Not too sure. Yep, the needle's too big. That's fine. I will separate that with a different needle altogether. I love how it gives it a bit of sheen, like it's in the ocean. It's the waves. That's right, because that's going up the top there, so that's fine. I might do, well, there's my line, so I'm not going to do any more down the bottom there. I think that will be enough, so I'll just stitch, tie that off. I do like to do a couple of knots, just so it's secure. It's a bit slippery, this. I'm going to change my needle and use some of that light. I think I'm going to use some of this light blue because it's thin enough. It's all come undone, so I'll just chop some off. So how much do I need? That will do. Right, let me find me a small needle. First I better find out whether the needle will go through the... Nope. Gee, they must be really fine. I've not used beads before. So Sally, this is the first time I've used beads. Yep. Oops. Right. Now the hard part is to try and get that through there. I might be doing this off camera, but I can't see that far down. Still trying to get the needle on there. I'm just going to stop the video and I'll come back. Okay, I had to leave and go and get a new needle and change to normal sewing thread. Me being new at beading, it just wouldn't go through and the cotton was too thick. But that's all part of the learning. I'm just going to put that in the bin. So I've got a few little beads here. I'm going to put them on the ocean. Now I've got to be careful I don't spill them all. Okay, let's go and do this. I think that's all right. That cotton blends in well. Right. Now I have heard, well I did hear, but I was watching another YouTube and the lady said, her name is Corinne, and I think her YouTube channel is To Be Treasured by Corinne. Fabulous. I just love watching her. She's great. But her grandmother taught her to sew twice through the beads, because then if one breaks, the other one is still holding it together. And silly me, I've done it back to front. I needed to poke a I needed to poke the thread through, then pick up the needle. I'll just rethread my needle. I'll just make it a little bit shorter. I did mine extra long. I just didn't want to run short. Any advice that you could give me would be great, because this is my first time doing these, stitchery and doing beading. I mean, obviously it's not too complicated, but we can all learn from everybody. I take my hat off to the women that make wedding dresses, because, gosh, this bead business is quite consuming. Especially if you've got to put it in twice, because it certainly does keep your needle there. Not your needle, your bead. Nice and tight. That looks a bit sparkly. This is obviously going to take some time, so I'm going to continue on with doing this, and I will just come back when I am finished. The bit of the ocean, and I did that again, didn't I? Okay, I'm going to stop this now, and I will come back when I've done the ocean, and then I'll go on to something else. So I'm just about finished my last one. My last bead. So for the edge, I'm just going to tack it down with a few stitches. The thread is just about the same colour as the blue, so you're not going to see it on the edge, and that's about where the line is anyway, so that's fine. Now I need a bit more blue to go back and just stitch that blue down. Suppose I can get that cotton through. That eye of that needle is so tiny. I like a few wounds around the needle for the cotton, just so it feels like it's a little bit more secure. I'll just do a couple of stitches. All right, so I'm just going to stitch along the ocean. do one more. Okay, that's done. So the next bit will be, now I was going to put this grass up here. I'm still not sure whether I like it. It was supposed to just sit in there, but the pin keeps coming out. Oh, it's just not working. Hopefully that'll just stay there. I'll get another pin for the top. All right, so I'm going to do these pebbles, well, the sand. So I better, let me see what I'll do. I better put this back on here. Nope, upside down. Maybe those. No, that's for this one here. Oops, you can see the sparkle in the rocks. So I will stitch the beads along there and then I'll come back. So this is what I've done so far. I've put the grass in here and over here, little bits of grass running along the top. And this is going to be a path, so I've got some brown thread just to do little like pebble stones or just to highlight the path. This is the garden up here. This part up here is the clouds, but it's a bit small, so I'm hoping, I don't know whether to just go straight across or chop it up and just put little bits here and a little bit there, because it's a bit small to the roof. I didn't realise how far I had put the cottage, and then and that's what it looks like on the back, which is actually quite nice. I quite like it. Shows you all your different stitches and the way you've gone. I want to show you this little bird clamp, and what it is, it's a they had made these in the 1800s for stitcheries, for people to do stitching, the ladies that would stitch. So it's a bird clamp, so you just open this up here and you stick your clamp in, your project, and then you get your needle. So it's basically like a third hand. I'll just move it over a little bit, and it holds it pretty tight, but if you pull on it too much, it will actually, I'll just move you down it. There, that's better. If you hold it a bit if you pull it too tight, you will pull it out. So basically, it just holds it tight while you stitch, and it makes it easier to go and do your stitches without having to hold without having to hold your work in your other hand. Gosh, I'm lost for words today. just doing random stitches. Down the path. I'm just keeping my pin in at the moment because it is a small piece of fabric, and if I take the pin out, I'm sure it'll move. This is just a little pathway down to the ocean, and the cottons come out. Doesn't always go in, does it? It won't be a moment. I'll just get my needle back in, my thread back in my needle. It's not working today. There we are. Now, if you want to know where I got this bird from, bird clamp, I'm just thinking. I got it from Amazon. Obviously, you have to look in the country of where you are. I'm just going to continue a couple of those stitches just to hold that green down a bit. I'm going to take the pin out. I feel I want another one in there. And a couple, and maybe two more up here. Obviously you want to try and put them in different directions. I might just do a bit more. Now that green's just sticking out there. I might get my green and just put in a few little stitches because it's just the frayed part of the green. Now I haven't used the bird throughout the whole stitchery of this. I need to find my other scissors. These are a bit too big. This part of the stitchery is going to be putting in some beads. I've done some red ones already and a blue, not blue, a pink one. So I'm just going to fill in two more red ones here on this flower. Now I like to go back on my bead and put two threads through the bead. So I'm just going to put one bead in there. I think that looks nice there. And then I might just go and I wonder if I've got any purple beads. I'm just going to put some more beads in this one here and this flower. Oops, I need to come up first. Might do 2 beads together, just to give it a little bit more of a pop. Yep. Whether I'm able to come back up for the second time, I'm not too sure. My needles just come out. And I will just do one more. I'm just going to go down here. I don't want to go too close to the edge because that's where Sally needs to stitch hers into something, or I'm not too sure what she wants to do. So I need to just lie them flat a little bit. Now I've just got to pull it a bit tighter. Try not to, and just maneuver it so they sort of sit together. And I'll just secure it on the back with a couple of stitches. Okay. Oops. I need to leave that out the way before I knock it on the floor. Right. I really need to get my other scissors, but I'm not worried about that. Okay. So that's that done. And now I'm just going to get my thread. Now I probably need this light coloured thread for up the top. I haven't done the house yet. I'm not really too sure what I want to do with that. I'm sure I've got the worst needle because the eye of the needle is tiny and I can't see it with my glasses on, so I have to take my glasses off. Okay, so I'm just going to do some running stitch all the way across the top. Might need to take that out a little bit. Pull that down to there. I think that would be better. I'll come back to the rest of the garden So yesterday we had Anzac Day in Australia. So we had to pay, we had to pay respects to the Anzacs that fought in the wars. So that was really nice. So it was a public holiday here in Australia. So everyone got a chance to have a day off, and then everybody's gone back to work. But I'm not at work at the moment because I've injured my foot, and I'm just waiting on a few scans, results from some scans, to see what the problem is, because it's been about 5 weeks and I'm still hobbling around. That's a bit tight in there because I've just come up onto the when they've done the stitches, it's a bit thick. Gee, these needles are very fine, aren't they? You can hardly feel them at all. Oh, I'm just not getting that in there. Maybe because I was actually going down the wrong way. I tend to go much better if I do it like this. So hopefully that will look nice with the effect of the cloud in the sky. And I'm going to leave just that up the top there, because when my recipient Sally, she can then cut it off, or if she's sewing it into a book, she could just leave it there if she wanted to. I think that's on that's on pretty good. So I'm just going to leave it there and tie myself off. My needle, my cotton. Sorry if I'm off camera. Oops. Okay. I don't know what's happened up the top there. Not too sure. Anyway, I've made mine just slightly bigger than what they said, just because you never know what happens. All right. Threads are annoying. So I finished with those. I'll just move them over there. So here we're going to do the pink stitches for the flower bed or the garden bed. So I actually need to just get some pink cotton. I've got 2 here, and I think I actually quite like the darker one. I'm not going to use this. I will stop the camera and come back and get some proper cotton off my DMC cottons. So I've got my pink cotton here. And I'm just going to do some, I just threaded that, now it's come undone again. Good if I put my glasses on. The planes are busy today. They're going out everywhere. I wonder, it'd be exciting to see all the other, eventually, because this Stitchery from Arty Annie runs from now until June, so it will be interesting to see what all the other ones look like when they eventually get them. If you want to have a look, you can join her Facebook page, and there are people that have received them. We'll go and put them up on the Facebook group. I've got this one, and I've got one more to do from a lovely lady in Canberra. That thread hasn't gone through. I'll just pull it a bit tighter. So all I'm doing is just doing some French knots along there just to hold that down. If I need to cut that away because it's too long, I'll just snip a little bit across the top there. And all I've got to do now is just the house, secure that down. And might just do some running stitch in the sky. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I might see what it looks like, and if I don't like it, I'll just pull it out. I think this needs a little bit more over there. So I'll just tie this off. There we go again. Story of my life at the moment, threading this damn needle. Might just put one on the edge there to hold that down. I will leave that. I might put one right in the centre. Yet again, my needles come off. Threads come out again. I think this thread is not doing too good now. It's amazing, the harder you press on the thread, the thinner it becomes. Just going to get it in there because my needles are quite a big one. And it's probably the wrong needle, but I couldn't get my thread through the other needle. I was finding it really difficult. There, that looks good. All right, I'll tie this off. I've got some dark cotton. I think I'm just going to get it. I've got this dark cotton. I think I'm just going to use this to go round just to make it thin. So I don't want it to be too bold. Or do I get some other cotton to match that? I've got this here. I'm not too sure what I want to do with it. I could do both. I could just do both. See what happens. As I said, if I don't like it, I can just take it out. Oops. There goes the cottons on the floor, but that's all right. I'm just going to use the same needle for now. I'm finding it difficult to do the shreds. I'm just going to do little tiny running stitches. Yep, that looks good. Both cottons together. That has worked out very well. Just a pity my needle's a bit thick. I might just change it if I'm having too much trouble. You can just stay the way it is. So I finished my little stitchery from Arty Farty on YouTube, and this is the ocean. I've done some bead work along here. This is the grass, a path, and some flowers with some beads, French knots. I just did some running stitch around the house, running stitch across the sky, and I just embellished the sun. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do some, I think they call that running stitch in the sky, or I just leave it. I'm not really sure, but I'm quite pleased with my work that I've done. I've not done one of these before. So thank you very, very much for watching my video, and I will be back here with another stitchery. Thanks for watching.